So the only other thing that I'm interested in from SmackDown is we got to see Charlotte for the first time since winning the title coming back last week. And I think the biggest question is because I said, look, she got a babyface reaction. She got a huge reaction. You're always going to get that reaction when it's a big star who's returning from a long layoff, but also crowd hates Ronda. All right. So you were going to get that reaction. I think she's still going to be a heel, even though her presentation was completely different last week. What did they do this past week?
I still don't know. So she came out and she cut a promo, basically like, whether you loved me or you hate me, I'm happy to be back. And she kind of played it both ways. Like it was a face promo, but she did like very much reference that she's a heel and that, some people are going to love her, some people are going to hate her, but she's happy to be back and she loves everybody and this and that. So it was kind of like hard to tell where they're going with it, but it seems like, at least for the time being, they're keeping her as a good guy.
Now, what was she dressed? What was she?
She wore the robe. She wore the robe.
Okay.
But she also had a match. So she was doing this. She was doing this whole shtick, and then she got interrupted by Sonya Deville, which I was very excited about.
I like Sonya Deville.
Sonya Deville came out. Charlotte, we see through you. We know what you are.
She's right.
Oh, great. Oh, you beat Ronda Rousey after she got beat up. You think you did something impressive? Fight me. I'm a fighter. And then they fought. And then she beat the shit out of her. Which kind of sucks because I was like, oh, this could be cool. Like, I feel like
I'm a big fan of her, man. I feel like she had such good momentum a couple of years ago during COVID and all of that. And then she had to take a little bit of time off, because she had the personal stuff that was going on where she was dealing with a stalker or what have you. And I think then they brought her back in, more of a limited role where she was the authority figure. And I thought she lost a lot of steam because she went from being like a badass, which she is. She's a fighter. And then they made her into like a chicken shit, power hungry, authority figure type who's wielding her power, to protect herself. And I thought she lost a lot.
I mean, my thing was like, I loved it when she came out. I thought this is cool. And I'm like, we're now 3 weeks, I guess, away from Rumble.
Yeah.
Why not just let her have a match with Charlotte at Rumble? Why not? Like, what else are you going to do? Like, what else are you going to build in the next 3 weeks? That's like a huge thing for Charlotte at Royal Rumble. And
it doesn't seem like I would say, hey, what about someone like Shayna? But it seems like Ronda and Shayna are going to go in the direction of trying to be a tag team.
Yeah, well, I mean, we could discuss that. I had that in Big Dirt, not Big Dirt. But,
yeah, save it for that. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal. So just say
it's not a big. Yeah. Well, because Ronda kind of referenced it too. But
yeah, that's what I
thought. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to be Ronda. Obviously, it doesn't look like it's going to be Shayna. I mean, God forbid they have another. I don't know. I don't even know who else could it be on SmackDown. Like right now, I mean, the only other one I can think of, heel Asuka comes over to SmackDown.
Or I mean, they could give Xia Li a shot. She's kind of just flailing around there on SmackDown. They give Xia Li because it's not going to be.
Should you give Xia Li a title shot at Rumble?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, right. Yeah, you could do that like on SmackDown or something. You can't do that at Rumble.
Right. I'm saying like Charlotte's got to do something at the Rumble, and what is it right now? Like, why not? It's
not going to be Raquel. She just lost. I don't think it's going to be Liv because Liv and Tegan.
Oh, you know what it's going to be? Together. You know what it's going to be? It's going to be we're not back to basics anymore.
It's going to be Lacey Evans?
Did you see they repackaged her again?
Yeah.
She loves the Cobra Clutch. She's the Cobra.
So they're doing like a Sergeant Slaughter type deal, right?
Yeah, she's a trained weapon, and her weapon is the Cobra.
Iraqi turncoat.
Yes, exactly.
That's what they're doing with her. They're making her an Iraqi turncoat.
No more back to once she started. Once she became a vaccination denier, they had to turn her back heel. Now she's a weapon, and her weapon is the Cobra Clutch.
I think you were too young because I was 10 years old when I was at 1991 Royal Rumble, Miami Arena, and that was the night that Sergeant Slaughter, Iraqi turncoat Sergeant Slaughter, won the WWF Championship from the Ultimate Warrior. And that was some real heat, dude. Like that was
Oh my God.
really. I was
I
only
mean,
10 years old, and that was serious shit. We're in the middle
wrestling.
of the Gulf War, and an
Yeah,
Iraqi turncoat just beat the Ultimate Warrior
I
for
know.
the WWF Championship. That was some serious shit, man.
That was like, I mean, wrestling 101 up until probably like
Oh
what
yeah,
15 years ago was xenophobia. It's like
yeah.
if you can get
Who can we get to be a Russian and come over here and
right,
fight our champion?
exactly. That was it. That was
Yep.
that's the way you got the heat. That was it.
And that was crazy when Sergeant Slaughter won that championship. It was
Yeah.
and Macho King, and then it led to maybe Ultimate Warrior's greatest match ever. It led to Macho King versus Warrior at WrestleMania 7 retirement match, which of course led to one of the all time great moments as well, where Miss Elizabeth and Macho reunited.
Yeah. But it's just crazy. Like, this is where we're at with Lacey Evans. That like she is a vet.
Yeah.
And we can't get her over as a face, as a vet. She can only be a heel because nobody likes her.
That's why she's going to be an Iraqi turncoat.
Yeah, I mean that's it. That's where she's at.
I want to ask you. I want to ask you about Wrestle. Did you watch Wrestle Kingdom?
I watched the matches that I cared about. Yes.
Okay.
I didn't watch it live. It was on at like 3 a.m.
Right. Yeah. So
although I thought about it because it was. I thought about it.
So Sasha Banks is now Mercedes Mone. Am I saying her name right? Mone. Right. Mercedes Mone. She's now the CEO.
Like her song, like her song, just Monet. Yeah.
She's the CEO now, right?
Of that women's division. She's the CEO of that women's division.
Mercedes Mone. And from what I read, I mean, I saw pictures and whatnot. I saw her. Kairi Sane is fantastic. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened when Mercedes Mone did that move, but holy shit, did it look awful. I don't know what the hell happened there. It was really terrible.
I think she was supposed to spin her into like a DDT, and it was just
really terrible. It was really, really terrible.
By the way, the promo wasn't great either.
Well, I didn't hear the promo, but of course, something that, Mercedes is going to have to get used to is that crowd in Japan. They sit on their hands. Like it's part of the culture there. Like they don't stand up and cheer. And so not only, like I'm hearing from you that the promo wasn't very good, they also kind of don't understand the language she's speaking. So it sounds like it was a mess to me.
It was underwhelming. And you're right. Like that crowd, first of all, if you've watched Wrestle Kingdom shows, I would imagine if you're in the building, it's a little louder. Their production of their shows doesn't focus on crowd noise.
Right.
So while there is a lot of like mainly like clapping and they don't go crazy, it's got to be louder in person. I refuse to believe that it's that popular over there and they're not like a little bit louder.
Do they know who she is?
Yeah, I mean, people in Japan know WWE. I mean, it's a global brand. I mean, do they care is a different question, I think. And I don't know. And here's the other thing. It's like, if she is going to AEW, then they blew it, man. Then AEW blew it. Well, like blowing her return on that. If she really is going to AEW at some point.
Well, I think it's the other way around, that she's working for New Japan and New Japan wants her return and they're kind of lending her to AEW. I think it's the other way around. If she does appear on AEW this week, which by the way, they're keeping it pretty secretive. Like I really don't know if she's returning to AEW.
Well,
I know Saraya is supposed to have a mystery partner, but didn't they announce it as Tony Storm?
Yes, but in the segment, did you see the segment where she?
Yeah, didn't Britt Baker say I'm the boss around here?
Well, so there's that, and she winked at the camera, which to me, everyone's taking that as, oh, Sasha Banks is coming.
I don't see it like that.
I almost took it as, fuck you, she's not coming, and I'm the boss.
I think she's trolling. Right? That's right.
But here's what everyone's thinking. Here's what a lot of people are. I think not necessarily even that people believe this, but I think that they just want her in AEW so badly, AEW marks, so to speak, that. So basically, Saraya had the backstage thing. She had Tony Storm on one side and Sheeta on the other side.
And how can Tony Storm not be a bigger deal? I don't get it.
When Saraya chose Tony Storm, she like turned her back to Sheeta and they were just like ignoring her and Sheeta looked pissed. So I think what people are thinking here is that Sheeta turns heel, attacks Tony Storm on Wednesday, and then Saraya doesn't have a partner. Who's it going to be?
Well, what? So Mercedes Mone happened to be there?
Yeah, she just happened to be hanging out in LA. It's in
just
LA.
in case someone gets attacked and I got to step in.
Exactly. Well, that's, everyone's somebody, you got to be around just in case someone gets attacked. Look, it was underwhelming.
It didn't seem like it was a big hit.
It was underwhelming for all this. And I got to think, if I'm Sasha Banks, I know she came up in the WWE system. She's only really knows WWE and WWE crowds.
Right.
So I'm sure this is like, I want to do something different. I want to go to Japan, this and that. But even for her, as much as she's tweeting that it was incredible and messages, she had to be a little underwhelmed.
There's no way that she wasn't walking down to that ring with zero reaction and not shook a little bit. There's no way.
Yeah. And
no way.
So, and then now there's these reports from Meltzer and Brian Alvarez basically saying that, like, not only do WWE people think she's not going to AEW, but they think that she's just getting this New Japan stuff out of her system and she'll be back.
It's possible.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah, it's possible. I think for a while now, she has thought that she's quite a bit bigger than she really is.
But that's the thing. If she was still in WWE, she is that big in WWE. Like, she's a Hall of Famer. She's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, but like, you're saying she's that big in WWE. Like, what's happened when her and Naomi left? Like, do you care?
No. WWE makes her that big, but I think they go hand in hand. I think she is a WWE product for sure.
Yeah.
She's very good though. She's way bigger in WWE.
Yeah.
But in WWE, she is that big. Like, she is that over. Like, she is Becky, she is Charlotte, she is Bayley. Like, them four, there's just something about them when they're together, when they're in WWE.
Let me ask you something.
It felt underwhelming, and she felt smaller at New Japan.
Let me ask you something. If instead of it being Mercedes Mone that shows up in that spot at Wrestle Kingdom and it's Charlotte Flair,
well,
what do you think the reaction's like?
If you knew for 3 months,
I think it'd be pretty freaking big.
If you knew for 3 months that she was showing up, I don't know.
I think it'd be pretty freaking big.
Yeah, which Charlotte's, you're right. Charlotte's different. But what if it was Becky Lynch? I don't know if it'd be that big.
Yeah, I don't know. But like, I think she thinks she's Charlotte Flair and she's not.
Yeah, well, I would tell you what, either way, again, AEW, they've been bringing in everybody.
Yeah.
And all these huge free agents. There's no one bigger. Like, you could make any argument you want on all these free agents who've been bouncing back and forth. Sasha Banks is the biggest free agent there was. I mean, she is legitimately a Hall of Fame women's wrestler in WWE who was just on the market. So everyone kind of blew this. Like, maybe there's more to it. Maybe it'll get better. I'm glad that she's feuding with Kyrie. Kyrie's awesome. So they'll have good matches. It'll be fun. But just the whole presentation was not great.
What's going on with Omega and Ospreay? What the hell happened there?
Now, on the other hand,
do they really hate? Does Ospreay really hate Omega?
Don't know, but I think he does. I love it that we I think. But let me tell you something. Here's another thing. We're going to talk about AEW, and I do think AEW is doing some things right now that could potentially turn the corner for them. Kenny Omega's presentation in New Japan makes him look like an absolute superstar. When you see him come out, the way they present
he's very jokey almost in AEW. He's real serious, like he's the cleaner in New Japan.
They present him in New Japan as a legend, as a star, as what he is. In AEW, I just don't get that, and I never have.
It kind of feels like fun and games when he's with on TV in AEW.
And like, Ospreay is incredible. The match was amazing. Like, if you're gonna go back and watch one match from Wrestle Kingdom, that's the one.
Yeah, I'd like to. Kenny
Omega won. So obviously they're going to run it back, and Ospreay will get back.
And so he's just rocking that title on AEW TV now, huh?
And what I've read today was that there's a plan in place for him to defend that on AEW programming against Will Ospreay.
Well,
so that's cool.
Got to assume Ospreay takes it back at that.
But I sent you, arguably the best part, I sent you that press conference.
Yeah, he was
Ospreay
like
got in his face. Yeah, I mean, it's been really good. The presentation again, like I said, like the presentation of Kenny was incredible. The main event, Jay White losing the title to Okada, is interesting because
I like him
there's been a lot of questions about where Jay White's going to end up. Carl Anderson lost his title, which is also interesting. There's been rumors
and FTR lost their titles.
FTR lost their titles.
So doesn't that continue to fuel the rumor that they're dropping all these titles to go back to WWE?
or there was the rumor that they were going to take a year off from all television companies and just bounce
do
around
indie
and
stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
that's possible.
which would make sense because then they could go back to WWE as
Yeah.
like conquering heroes. But Carl Anderson lost to Tama Tonga, who's awesome, and supposedly WWE has interest in Tama Tonga too. So it was a really good show. There's something about New Japan's presentation, other than the fact that the fans aren't loud. I think AEW wishes they were in New Japan.
Really? I gotta have the fans. I love.
I know that, but like the presentation. And that being said, New Japan's been around for 20 something years, maybe longer. I don't know. AEW's only been around for 3 or 4 years, so the presentation maybe will get better. But it felt, and I know it's Wrestle Kingdom, so that's the WrestleMania. Things feel bigger in New Japan, and a lot of these guys are in AEW.
Well, and can I tell you, the new set for AEW debuted this past week. I liked it a lot.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, it's good.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
I thought it looked good. I liked it. I always liked the heel entrance and the babyface entrance, the tunnels. They obviously don't have that anymore.
But I think they still have separate entrances. It's just not a tunnel. Okay. It looked like I thought they did. I couldn't really tell, but I think they're just not a tunnel anymore. But I think it looks good
though. I like how it looked. I thought it looked good.
Yeah, I mean, it looks more like a professional wrestling company, not an indie.
Yeah.
But look, Wrestle Kingdom, you can find streams, you could buy a replay, whatever.
I'd like to watch Ospreay and Omega. I don't want to buy the whole thing because I just want to see Ospreay and Omega.
Yeah, it's worth it just to watch that match. It was great. Carl Anderson also, by the way, he's like a heel in New Japan. He's awesome. He's great. Like, he's just really good. It was fun. I enjoyed it. But the Mercedes Mone thing was a bust.
Tell me if there was anything that I missed that was of significance on AEW. I will tell you, I watched a bit of Rampage. I did catch it when I was out there in Utah. And I mean, there was a lot happening, so it got a little bit wonky. The Acclaimed versus, Jared and Lethal. There was a lot happening there. But the finish I thought was very, very cool. I really liked the finish.
I didn't see the finish on Rampage, but they also fought on Dynamite, and the finish was very good.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I don't know. Here, I'll tell you. The Dynamite finish was Jarrett and Jay Lethal won.
Okay.
They won the belts.
I didn't see that.
Who was it? It was Anthony Bowens had his foot on the ropes, and Sanjay Dutt pushed his foot off the rope at the last second, so they counted to 3. And then, of course, on this night, the referee,
Aubrey Edwards, happened? Did Jack Tunney come out and say that?
Lead referee Aubrey Edwards came out and said his foot was on the rope. This match will continue, and then the Acclaim win. But it was good, like an old school, like kind of
so on Friday on Rampage, Lethal and Jeff Jarrett were about to win the match. If things were getting crazy, there was a lot happening. The big guy, what's his name again? Satnam Singh.
Greater Khali.
He was throwing dudes around. He looked great.
He was blatantly flicking people off on Dynamite. He's
just very vulgar, very vulgar.
Just doing this.
He was throwing dudes around. He took a guitar shot to the head and was unfazed. Okay.
I like that guy. I like this guy.
He was throwing dudes around. And so then as the match was about to end, the referee was about to count 3 for the Acclaimed. Jay Lethal came off the top rope and gave the elbow drop to the referee. So the referee's out now, and they got, what's his name? Sanjay Dutt. He puts on the referee shirt. And
I think I did see.
And he's about to count the 3, and then Aubrey Edwards runs down, and she snaps his pencil, and she ends up counting 3 for the Acclaimed.
Man, Aubrey Edwards has a lot of power.
I thought it was a very fun finish. Crowd was hot. I thought it was a lot of fun. And there was also something else that I liked that I saw on Rampage as well. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to remember now. Of course, what was it? Was it on Dynamite that what's his name? Darby Allin won the title from Samoa Joe.
He won the title from Samoa Joe. So what I was going to say was, like, there's a couple things. First of all, Moxley, they did like a Moxley Hangman Page thing. Microphone wasn't working in-house, but it was working on TV. So Moxley drops like 3 F-bombs on live TV. Like, someone get me a fucking mic. Like, he's just out of control. So that happened. Here's what I'll say with AEW. What I like that Darby Allin has the title only because now if you look at the
they
title,
love dudes winning titles in their home crowd. They love that.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Love that.
It seems like AEW is course correcting a little bit. Last year, they were riddled with Ring of Honor titles and surprise WWE guys and stars trying to remake, reset stars and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Every title now is held by an AEW original, someone who's been there from day one.
Good.
And the cool thing about AEW in the beginning was they were building stars that you hadn't really heard of, but are awesome. And right now, everyone that holds a title is really good and has been there from the beginning and has like really helped build the company to be what it is. So it gives me hope that they're figuring some things out here, because I got to be honest, the last few months of AEW have been hard for me to watch. There's been some really bad stuff.
Yeah, it's dropped.
There's been some really bad stuff. This does give me hope that they're like really turning things around. That being said, they forced this MJF Daniel Bryan thing or Bryan Danielson thing. And MJF was hot when he won the title. Like you could make
back.
You could make the argument that it was Roman Reigns and then MJF and then everybody else. I'm kind of I'm not really super interested in MJF right now. I think part of that is
because he's not in the ring enough.
And again, exactly. And we talk about how Roman is such a big star, he doesn't have to wrestle that much.
Right.
But they built that over 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it's not
MJF. You've been the champion for like a couple months.
Yeah, he's not Roman Reigns.
And like you mentioned a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago, the reason he's even feuding with Bryan Danielson is Regal, who's now in WWE.
Right.
So it's this whole storyline. And I
didn't like the storyline from the get-go because I don't understand why Bryan Danielson is supposed to make me feel sympathetic toward William Regal.
Right. And now what they set up this is that if Bryan Danielson wins a singles match for the next 4 weeks, then he gets to fight MJF.
Okay, so we're doing like the 5 stages of Jericho, right? We're doing that again, right?
So basically, yeah. So now Bryan Danielson has to fight 4 matches over the next 4 weeks. And if he goes 4-0, then they fight in a 60-minute Iron Man match.
Oh, you know what? That'll be interesting to see MJF try and do 60 minutes, man.
Oh, he could do it. That dude.
No, I know, but I mean, shit. He's wrestled like 9 times in the last year. I heard.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, you know what else I loved from Rampage? Jade Cargill and Sky Blue. The finish to that match.
Sky Blue's good.
But the finish to that match, holy shit. Jade Cargill, unbelievably impressive. The strength. It was a fantastic finish. Fantastic finish. Really cool.
No. Oh, and then the other thing that was awesome. The Guns, they're awesome. They did a FTR funeral.
Really,
it was awesome.
Really,
they put up like a FTR IP.
That's
the
funny.
Dates that they won the titles and the date they lost because their whole gimmick now is that ever since they lost to the Guns, they've lost all their titles.
Okay,
and now they're the new top guys.
Okay,
and even in the middle of it, FTR's music went off. Nope, they're not here. They're dead because of us.
That's always funny.
They're very good. The Guns are, and that's what I'm saying. These guys, they've been there from the beginning, and they've just sort of grinded away. And now they'll do their thing with FTR, and eventually they'll do their thing with the Acclaimed, who have been there from the beginning. By the way,
and you're pretty sure Billy Gunn turns on the Acclaimed at that point.
I mean, it seems like the natural progression of things, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say this. The Acclaimed have made Jeff Jarrett like relevant in this whole thing. Like, remember a couple weeks ago, I was like, why the hell is Jeff Jarrett on my screen in 2023? Dude, if Max Caster is going to do freestyles about Jeff Jarrett's wife every week, give me Jeff Jarrett every week.
That's another one where I'm not quite sure I love when they toe the line. Like, I don't know what's real. I don't know what's not.
But it's it's great.
It
was a really good episode. They just, and I think hopefully this guy who's going to come in, this Mansouri guy that was with WWE and now is with, hopefully he helps them figure out their timing, because they still are they're so rushed at all times. Like, the Acclaimed wins. So in the Acclaimed Jeff Jarrett match, Daddy Ass gets sent to the back, right? They get the false finish. Then they win the titles. Daddy Ass is coming out to celebrate with them. The crowd's going crazy. They're the most overact in the company. let's go backstage. Tony Schiavone's sitting by with Briny. They cut the celebration.
I told
short
you the worst ever.
They don't have time.
The worst ever was when Omega and the Bucks were busted open by Death Triangle. They're bleeding everywhere, and they're going. Now I got to see footage from MJF from last week. They
can't figure out their blocking because it's a 2-hour show, and this is again, like the hopefully there's the two things that I hope they figure out this year that they've been a company for 4 years, so they got to figure this shit out. Okay. They need to get better. Like the wrestling is great, but they're so focused on these great wrestling matches that it is a detriment to the storylines and the promos. Like, I don't need 30-minute matches on a 2-hour show. I need a 10-minute match and I need to build some storylines. And they are so invested in like every match is going to be great professional wrestling.
The whole match doesn't need to be pay-per-view worthy. It is regular television.
Exactly. And so like even this week, like this week's episode is like a pay-per-view.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah.
You got Game 7, right? Yep. And then you got Moxley Hangman Page. You got the tag match with maybe Mercedes Mone, maybe not. You got week 1 of the Bryan Danielson
MJF deal,
thing. I mean, it's a big, but like, how are they going to fit that all in a 2-hour show?
Yeah, even just those 4 things you mentioned right there, I think it's tough to fit into 2 hours. And they're going to try and squeeze a bunch of other stuff too.
So I think the Death Triangle match, Game 7 is going to be a long match.
Yeah, that's a 30-minute match, easy.
Danielson versus Konosuke Takeshita is going to be a long match.
Yeah, you're getting 20 minutes out of that.
I think Moxley and Hangman will be short. I think they're going to beat the shit out of each other, and it's going to be a short match. So one way or the other, it's going to be short, I think.
Well, those 3 things, you're already well over an hour.
Oh, and you got Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Hook versus Big Bill and Lee Moriarty.
Big Bill.
Yeah, you gotta give some time for Big Bill to breathe.
Big Bill.
And then I like just it's a great lineup. It's a pay-per-view level card almost for AEW. How do you fit it all in?
Yeah.
And then if you're fitting this all into the show, like what happens to the momentum of the Guns? They just cut the best promo of their careers. Now they're not on the show. Is the Acclaim going to be on the show? Like they're just, I don't know if they need more programming or what it is, but
Dynamite's on TBS, the TBS champions, Jay Cargill.
Yeah. And it's just that these matches are good. They should be long. But then when you have these long ass matches, then you go weeks at a time without building the storylines. Like, where's House of Black? I know they had a vignette.
They were on Rampage, right?
They had a vignette on Rampage, but it seems like now what they're doing with House of Black is they're going after Eddie Kingston and Santana or Ortiz. They're trying to like break those 2 guys up. But like 3 weeks ago, House of Black, it looked like they were going to go after the Elite. Yeah. Like, what's happening? Yeah. It's just like these guys they're on the show, then they're off the show for a couple weeks. And now it's like, how do you build momentum when you're so focused on these 30-minute matches? They got to let some of these storylines breathe a little bit. That's my hope for them for 2023. They have the roster. They got to get their timing and their storytelling right because the wrestling's great.
So we're approaching the start of Raw tonight. So if you're listening right now to It's Still Real to Me, we're recording this on a Monday, because I was away this weekend. So you might be listening to this after Raw on January 9th. That's why we're not talking about anything from it. But let's do some Big Dirt, not Big Dirt. Yeah. What do you got for us here?
All right. Let me pull this up real quick.
Come on.
So, that guy Takeshita, this is actually one that I wasn't going to say, but since I just referenced him, again, here's another thing I don't want AEW to do in the new year. Let's not just randomly like throw New Japan wrestlers in here that no one's ever heard of without some context. Because the rumor is that this guy Takeshita, who's supposed to fight Daniel Bryan on Wednesday, is going to have a massive push in the company. Like they're trying to build him into like a massive star. Big Dirt, not Big Dirt. Don't even know who the guy is.
Yeah, I'm going not Big Dirt because I know AEW like really prides himself on the hardcore wrestling fan. I feel like I'm a hardcore wrestling fan, but that doesn't mean that I know all the guys out there in New Japan. So you got to be careful. You don't want to alienate a lot of your audience.
Just explain something. Just give me a fact.
Yeah.
Who is this guy? Don't just say Renee Paquette is backstage with Konosuke Takeshita and expect me to know why I care about this guy.
Yeah, so I'm going not Big Dirt.
Watch some tape on Michael Cole and, give me a reason to care. Just give me a reason to care in 2023 AEW. All right, we'll get the Ronda one out of the way. So Ronda Rousey, apparently she has a Twitch or something where she does video games. She plays video games. Someone asked her about Charlotte and she said, you know what? I'm sick of Charlotte. I'm kind of sick of that title. I've already done it. I think I want to take over the tag team division. And then there's more rumors coming out that the plan is her and Shane are going after the tag titles. Big Dirt, not Big Dirt.
You know what? I'm going to go Big Dirt, okay? Because I feel like something new, something fresh with Ronda may do her some good. Like, do I care personally about the women's tag team titles? No, not really. But that's something fresh for Ronda. Obviously, I like Shayna Baszler a lot. So I'm going to go Big Dirt. I'm interested in seeing in the direction that goes. I can dig it.
Yeah, and yeah, to your point, I think when I saw this, my thought was maybe this is like the character rehab that she needs, where it's like the reason we don't really like her and the reason most people seem to not like her is that from day one, she's come in and been at the top of the card in the title picture, and we don't even know, does she even give a shit about being there?
While sometimes she flaunts that she doesn't give a shit.
Right. But now she'll be like in a mid-card kind of thing. Can she thrive not being the star at the top of the show?
Yeah.
That would be interesting to see. Maybe that gives her a little bit of a boost in the fans' eyes, at least.
Yeah.
We keep talking about like how well they're like how hard, like how good they've done, like keeping secrets under the Triple H regime. According to every report, whoever is in the Uncle Howdy mask has never, even backstage, taken off the mask.
I love it.
Like, doesn't get dressed in front of people, doesn't take the mask off in front of people, and is keeping, this is obviously it's dirt sheet, so this could be complete bullshit, but supposedly this person always wearing the mask to try to keep their identity hidden. Big Dirt, not Big Dirt.
So this is the WWE's version of Daniel Day-Lewis. All right, we're constantly in character. I dig it. Look, could they have fed this to the dirt sheets just to get this out there and it adds a little bit more mystique? Of course, but I'm going Big Dirt. I like that kind of shit, man. I like when, the $1 Million Man actually travels around in a limousine everywhere he goes. I like when we're actually living the gimmick here. So I dig it. I'll go Big Dirt.
By the way, I'm just going to throw this out there. Since you already mentioned that we're recording this about a half hour before Raw, there has been a report that's come out about tonight's Raw, if you want to, that has to do with it.
Is it a spoiler? Because I don't do that. I watch the show.
Well, it's that there may be Uncle Howdy on Raw this week.
Okay,
maybe.
But I don't want to know who it is. Okay, that's fine. If you tell me the character may be on, that's okay. But I don't want to know who's backstage at Raw, and this guy might be Uncle Howdy. I don't like that.
All right. Have you seen the Royal Rumble poster yet?
Yeah, it's cool.
So the
classic one, the all-time greatest one was 1991, where it's like the movie The Warriors, where they're all kind of the street gang and they're all in the clothes. Yeah. That's the greatest one.
So it had Lashley, Brock, Roman, Becky, Rhea, Bianca, Seth, KO, Asuka, Ricochet, Miz, and Theory.
How about Ricochet making the poster?
Apparently, originally it didn't have Cody and Charlotte, and they've just re-released it with Cody and Charlotte. And the rumor is that the lightning, I don't know how this works. I don't know why this makes sense. The lightning in the poster is supposed to be a tease that The Rock is going to be there.
I mean, that's not Big Dirt. I don't even understand what that means.
Either do I, but I'm telling you, I've seen it in multiple places where they're like,
what does lightning have anything to do with Rock?
The lightning is The Rock.
That makes no sense. When have The Rock and lightning ever been a thing? What does that mean? It's not Thor.
Dude, I'm just reading the dirt, okay?
No, that's not Big Dirt. People are reaching. And I don't even know what they're reaching for with that. That's not
the promotional graphics for the event include several lightning strikes, and speculation is that this has to do with The Rock's return.
So? I mean, if anything, I would say it's the Undertaker. The lightning means Undertaker. I mean, Rock.
Maybe it is Undertaker.
It ain't The Rock.
Maybe it's the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. I think LA Knight referenced it as the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match, which is hilarious.
You got to.
Oh, man. All right, last one. Mandy Rose is doing a tell-all interview tomorrow on a show that apparently exists called the Tamron Hall Show.
I've actually heard of it. I know what it is. Yeah.
Oh, what is it? It's like daytime
it's a talk show. Yeah.
Who's Tamron Hall?
She's a woman.
Oh.
Yeah. I've heard of it. I mean, I don't watch that kind of stuff, so I don't know how big it is, but I've heard of it. Yeah. I'll go Big Dirt.
I feel like she could just do it on her own platform. And
I'm sure they're paying her. I mean, I'm sure they're paying her.
But okay. Yes, I'm sure they're paying her. and I guess they have money. I guess they have a decent budget, but like, couldn't she record it and charge people on her platform to watch it? I guess it would just get out and then everybody would see it.
I think this is big dirt because this is going to give us a lot of material. You know, like we're obviously, this is going to be stuff that we're going to talk about. This is interesting for us. I will tell you that Tamron Hall has 400,000 Twitter followers, so it's a pretty big deal. Yeah, I'll go big dirt right there. I'm interested to hear what Mandy Rose has to say.
What percentage of Tamron Hall's Twitter followers do you think are WWE fans?
Extremely low, which is why she is ponying up the money to get Mandy Rose on her show.
To get the WWE crowd?
Well, I mean, they're gonna get a few people who are gonna tune in who are WWE fans who know nothing about Tamron Hall. You're gonna get people to tune in and see what Mandy Rose.
Yeah, I guess I know. I guess now I know there's a person named Tamron Hall.
Yeah, you had no idea. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
In a million, I still don't know who Tamron Hall is. You just explained it to me, and I still don't know. But
yeah. So I'm going big dirt. I'm interested in what she has. I'm not gonna watch it, but I'll check out the clips. You know.
Right. Fair enough.
There you go.
I'll read the transcript.
All right, man. Excellent job. This was fun. I'm looking forward to wrapping this up here and then go watch Monday Night Raw tonight, along with the National Championship. There you have it, man. Yeah,
there you go.
Okay. Hey, however you're listening right now, like, rate, comment, do all that good stuff on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Zaslow Show. And of course, it's still real to me under Zaslow Show 2.0. However you listen to your podcast, tell your friends, tell all your pro wrestling fan friends, tell your mother, tell everybody. All right, Joey, excellent job. Tell all your fans. You'll talk to them next week. Go ahead.
Well, hey, fans, see you next week. Hey, welcome back, Zaz. Welcome back, Zaz.
Thank you.
I don't think I said that enough. Welcome back.
Thank you. Make sure you tune into Zaslow Show 2.0 every day, of course, and we'll get back to our regularly scheduled programming of It's Still Real to Me coming up on Saturday. See you guys.